All right. Hello, everybody. Hope you all are doing well. This is DFS Army's pre-lock show where we are here to answer your questions for this crazy, weird Week 16 NFL slate, but it's going to be a good one. Tattoo, how are you feeling, man? Do you like the slate? Are you a little worried about it?
A little, yeah, not really. Yeah,
Not your favorite?
Bit confusing so far.
Yeah, there's not a clear spot like there was last week. Last week was easy. We knew to play the Lions. We knew to play the Bills. This week's a little weird. But those of you who don't know, Tattoo, he crushes the NHL streets in both bets, prop bets, DFS. You had a takedown yesterday, getting a ticket to the satellite contest. Like, congrats on that, man. Burns,
that was lucky.
The one and only multiple $1 million NFL contest winner. Great in a lot of sports, MLB and NHL too. How are you doing, man?
I'm good.
Good. Your team won last night, so you're extra good. Like, there's a lot going on.
They didn't just win; they fucking demolished them. Like Tennessee. Oh my God, where did you even come from? They didn't even show up. It was like
from the beginning.
It was like under 20 degrees, and it was always talking about we sewed fleece line shit into the quarterback's jersey. I'm like, forget that shit, dude. What are you, sugar? You gonna melt or something? Come on.
Yeah, well, congrats on that win for you guys. And then we have the one and only Razzle Dazzle. Was struggling to find clothes this morning, but also another great DFS player, multiple sports, MLB, college basketball, NFL. You've had some great wins too. How are you doing, Raz?
Doing great. A little disappointed that I had to wear clothing for the show.
Well, but as far as we know, you only have a hoodie on.
I mean, that's 100% accurate. But excited to find out how much Tattoo likes Penix.
Well, I've always been curious about Penix my whole life, but never dabbled in it. So I'll see if this is the weekend I get some liquid courage.
Today's the day, maybe. We'll see. All right, Carlos, good to see you in the chat. Bright and early. You are on top of it, man. Good to see you. He said, happy holidays. Agreed. Happy holidays to everyone. Didn't say that. Big week. Hopefully y'all have a great Christmas if I don't remember to say that at the end of the show. But then, yeah, small tourney, single entry quarterback. Okay. Thank you for giving us a little bit of additional context. We'll jump right into it. Talk about quarterbacks on the slate. Our favorite single entry quarterback for small field GPPs. Raz, I'll start with you.
Oh boy.
Big question, bright and early.
I mean, small field, single entry. Probably gonna go with Kyler. Like, as much as I'm holding back my other play for later. So Kyler it is for this setup.
Okay, so a sneaky play later, and we also always talk about some of the sneaky plays towards the end of the show. Burns, who's it going to be for you?
I think right now I think it's going to be AR, but I'm not 100% yet. I just like the build that I have with him, but it'll probably end up being Burrow for me.
Okay, and AR Anthony Richardson, right?
Yeah.
And then Burrows, who you're looking at for small field GPPs. Okay, nothing crazy so far. Tattoo, are you going to throw us off the bin or get me off the bandwagon of liking plays so far today?
No, I'm not going to try to get you on the Penix.
Okay, good.
I think Josh Allen is my single entry small field.
Fair. I mean, last few weeks, hard to go wrong with that. For me, I'll give a different answer, but so far I'm on most of the guys that we've mentioned. Caleb Williams, great matchup against a banged-up Detroit defense. He's who I would go with. All right. Cujo, what's up? Morning. Good to see you. Happy holidays to you and your family as well. Merry Christmas, Chuck. Good to see you here. Jose said, DFS Army, is it more wise to select skill position players that are playing for something? To me, it seems like if they have nothing to play for, then why choose them? Burns, what's your thought process here? Do you give this much thought?
Not right now. It's week 16. I mean, we really don't need to look at this until week 17, 18. Because everybody's really just still trying to play for whatever they're playing for. Yeah. But in week 18, it becomes a significant benefactor to have players in your player pool that are playing for something versus not. Same thing with week 17.
Yeah, it's a little too early, Jose, to think about it now because they still have 2 games left. They can still get a little bit closer to some of those bonuses they might need, like touchdown bonuses, yard bonuses, award bonuses, stuff like that. So they're still playing for something at this point. Pretty much every team, even the ones who are eliminated from playoff contention.
A lot of them are playing for a job next year.
Exactly. Once we get to 17, 18, you can see the morale really go away. But like Burns said, but right now they're still fighting for a spot. Jonathan said, what are you guys doing for the flex positions? For those of you who are wondering, what does he mean? I mean, I think most people know flex positions, but he's talking about what are our percentages going to be for flex position ownership in our 150 lineups. And we're using DFS Army's Domination Station. That's our optimizer. Some people call it DFS for short. If you're interested in having access to this, click the link in the description. Use promo code TATOO, TATOO, for a 10% discount there. And then you'll have access. You can make winning lines. And you can also have access to the Discord where we will continue to answer questions for you in the chat. But Raz, I'll start with you. What are you doing with flex position percentages on this slate?
Right now I'm sitting at 60% running back, 15% tight end. And then filling it in with wide receiver, maxing 50% at wide receiver, but it's not getting anywhere near that because I'm playing a bunch of running backs.
Okay. Tattoo, where are you at?
I'm getting ready to choke a dog out in a second. I always leave running back 100% on FanDuel, and then tight ends I'll beat 30 and let 50 wide receiver. But DraftKings, I'll just lower tight ends down to like 30% and leave running back and wide receiver 100.
Yep. And then last but not least, Burns, what's your thought process here?
Right now I'm 45-15 fill-in with wide receivers.
Yep. I'm 60. I'm right where Raz is. Those are my numbers. 60, 15. Then I have an 80% max on receivers, but they're getting nowhere close to that. And then Savage, appreciate the message. Said, gents, finalizing my lineups. Awkward. We just touched on it, but appreciate the comment, man. Hope you're doing well. Good luck today. All right, here. Let's see. Chuck said, will Jonathan Taylor be given a second chance after his drop fumble at the 1 yard line, making lots of DFS players smash a hole in the wall? Tattoo, what's your thought process here? First, do you have any interest in Taylor today? And then secondly, do you think he'll get a second chance here?
Well, I'm sure he'll get a second chance. He's a great running back. He made a mistake. He's not one of them show-offs that, he just fucked up. But I don't have any interest in him.
Yeah.
For myself. So.
Tough matchup against Tennessee. Not really kind of team I like to attack with running backs. Nathan, yep, you're not wrong, Nathan. All right, I see you interested in DTR. King said, I'm playing 3 running backs and 3 mid to high end receivers with a cheap quarterback, cheap tight end, and cheap defense. Good luck, man. Josh said, is it safe to play a 5K quarterback stacked with a 5K receiver because 5K receivers look pretty good this week and most weeks, as Burns has highlighted for a while. Raz, what are your thoughts here? I feel like it's fine, especially this week in particular when there's multiple 5K quarterbacks I like and they have cheap 5K receivers. So I'm doing this a decent amount, but are you?
Yeah, I'm doing it quite a bit, actually. That's obviously the best wide receiver range for me, for most people probably, and especially because I'm paying up a little bit more at running back. It's just going to make sense that most of my lineups end up with multiple 5K wide receivers.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those weeks where that's fine. And I think, like Burns says a lot, most weeks are kind of like this. Xavier said, favorite standalone receiver play today. Burns, I'll start with you. Who are you liking at the wideout position?
I think my favorite player today is going to be Tyreek Hill at 6,900. I'm just building a lot with him so far in hand builds. I'll be getting to him a good bit. I boosted him, so he'll be one of my higher owned 6K guys. And then there's so many good wide receivers today, so it's tough.
Yeah, I have to get off the Tyreek Hill train. I get it, though, especially in a matchup that's a little bit better than you would think. What about you, Raz? Who are you looking at for standalone wideout receiver play?
There's actually quite a few.
I know.
Paying up even Puka. Like, I don't really want to play Stafford, but, like, I'll just play Puka the way that he's been performing. Obviously, I mean, Tyreek Hill makes sense. Malik Neighbors, I don't really want to play Drew Lock all that much, just because there are better, cheaper quarterbacks to play. But Neighbors is he's going to just pop in all optimizers across the industry, not just ours.
Mm-hmm.
JSN, another one.
Right below.
Yeah, I mean, similar price point. But I don't really love playing Geno these days, but JSN just keeps crushing. So I'll gladly.
Are you worried about the weather in that game at all?
I didn't really see. Did I miss something with weather? I guess I didn't.
Did it get better? I don't know. Tattoo Burns, did y'all look at that at all? That Seattle game? I thought it was supposed to be a little rainy and windy.
Let me check.
Yeah,
Seattle should be the only game this weekend where weather impacts. Wet, breezy weather is expected.
Yeah.
I don't really pay attention to weather much.
I mean, if it's 50-mile-an-hour winds, I guess, but I don't know what breezy means.
Yeah. So, I think it's still a fun play. And then, Tattoo, what about you? Any standout receivers?
Like I said with Raz, it's so many. A cheapie that I really like is Adam Thielen.
Yeah.
I have no problem paying up for Chase or Jefferson. I actually did a build with Penix and put Jefferson and Chase in there together. Even with Gibbs, you can make it work if you really want to stud up. So
especially if you're playing Penix, makes it a lot easier.
Even A-Rich.
Yeah. Anthony Richardson's cheap too, so I get it. It's not super hard to do on this slate. For me, there's a lot of receivers who have really bad quarterbacks, and it's making it hard for me to say like who my favorite is. But the guy I have the most exposure to right now is Jacoby Myers, and then the guy that I have, I think the guy I have the most leverage on are guys like Keenan Allen and DK Metcalf in the 5K range. I like a lot. So that's where I stand. The Ken Knief said favorite overall quarterback for a dart throw play. So favorite low-owned quarterback. Usually this is a question we'll kind of get to towards the end of the show, but you were here early, Knief, so I feel like I have to answer or ask this question. Raz, you were the one who emphasized having a favorite low-owned quarterback, so I'll start with you.
I didn't really anticipate wanting to throw up this early, but it's going to be Mac Jones. Mac Jones is a core play for me, afternoon slate in my notes.
Damn, all right.
Mac Jones right now on the main slate in my runs is 16% owned in my pool.
Mm-hmm.
It's gross, but 2 out of the last 3 weeks, he's basically gone 4X. So I'm just going to keep riding that and let him pepper Strange and Thomas with targets.
He hasn't been bad, so I can't shit on it too much, but I really don't like Mac Jones. And the matchup's not bad. It's just not going to be me today. But you're not wrong, man. That is a low-owned quarterback play. Hopefully he crushes for you. Burns, who are you looking at?
What was the question again? I'm trying to figure out the props projections.
Oh, you're good. Favorite low-owned quarterback play?
Sam Darnold. The weather stays well. It's Sam Darnold for me. I've been on him all week. But another play that I think it's really low owned too. So I mean, Jalen Hurts, really like Jalen Hurts today as well in the sevens. He's going to be extremely low owned. He's probably going to be less than 3% in the millie, if not less than 5%. And favorite stacking partner with him is Devonta Smith right now, simply because it's a salary play. Devonta Smith's 5,800, whereas everybody else is 8K or high sevens that he has to be paired with. So for me, it's just a matter of salary relief in that lineup with Jalen Hurts, or just go naked with him and not really worry about having anyone stacked.
Yeah, obviously that's been viable this season too. Tattoo, what about you? Favorite low-owned quarterback?
Just a quick note before that.
Okay.
If 47 is the over-under for Philly, Washington, I think the over is a crush. I just think that's going to be a really, really high-scoring game. Mm-hmm. Favorite low-owned quarterback, Josh Allen is 3%.
True. He definitely counts.
But if you want to get really disgusting and dirty,
best way to be.
Mason Rudolph.
Yeah. No, that's one that I'm on. On Friday, I liked Matthew Stafford a good bit, and I liked Geno. But just the more I looked at it, the weather didn't wow me. One of the lower game totals on the slate, I ended up just kind of moving off of it. I still like both Darnold and Geno as plays, but I've talked myself out of it at this point, and I replaced them with two guys I like. Well, not Stafford. I'm still playing Stafford, just not Geno. But Mason Rudolph's one of my favorite low-owned plays as well. Who are you stacking him with? Are you stacking him with anyone, Tattoo?
Probably like Ridley.
Yeah.
Or something. I also like
options are what get
Drake
a little
May.
Yeah.
I just think they're going to have to be throwing to keep up. He can run the ball.
Congo.
He's got a weird price point now at 5,800.
Mm-hmm.
That puts him in kind of spot with other guys.
Yeah. And I think maybe my biggest one for low owned that I have the most leverage on, at least in this below 5% range, is Jared Goff. Going right back to him this week in a game that I could see being explosive too. Bobby, what's up? Agreed. Let's make it happen today. All right. JM, good to see you, man. We just touched on some sneaky quarterbacks. Hopefully some of those guys stood out for you. Yeah, the whole world likes Richardson and Williams today. I like Williams. I didn't get to Richardson, but again, I understand the play, especially when we have a few guys here who like him too. It's hard to talk you off either one of them. Nathan said, question, how many guys do you like to stack with quarterbacks in single entry? Tattoo, I know you play a good amount of single entry. What's your thought process here?
How many to stack?
Mm-hmm.
One. I don't even necessarily force it, but, depends on who the quarterback is.
That's the real point. Yeah. It will always vary just depending on who your quarterback is. Some in single entry, it makes more sense to play naked, especially if they have rushing upside or if they're really pricey and they like to spread the ball out a good amount. If they have rushing upside, I still typically like to stack +1, but it hasn't been as necessary this season. And then if they don't have as much rushing upside, I still like to stack +2. And then Kevin said, would you like to go Gibbs or Cook as a 100% play today? Burns, how are you thinking about this?
Right now it's Gibbs for me. You set that at 100%, he's going to be in all 100% of your lineups. So he's not going to be like 50% of your lineups. He'll be 100%. So it just depends on how much Gibbs you want today. He's 100% on my board right now.
Yeah, I think Gibbs, if you're trying to 100% someone and you're deciding between Gibbs or Cook, it's Gibbs. I like Cook today. I'm over the field on him, but he's not a guy at 4% ownership you have to have 100% of. Whereas Gibbs, it just makes more sense to kind of either go very high on him or extremely lower. if that's your play style. There's a whole conversation we could have around that. Bobby said Metcalf, JSN, or Lockett. For me, it's Metcalf. What about you, Burns? I think you like JSN, right?
Yeah, I like JSN a good bit, but I also like Lockett too. I mean, if you need that $500 salary relief, by all means, that's a great play too.
Tattoo, where are you at with these three?
JSN.
And then Raz?
JSN, especially if there is weather. Short area targets, and Lockett isn't going to make my player pool at all.
Yeah, I can't do it with him anymore, sadly. Xavier said Bijan or Saquon. Raz?
Man, probably Saquon. I mean, I'm going to be higher on Bijan just because I'm playing a lot of Atlanta in my builds.
Yep.
But I think if it's one versus the other, I just think Saquon has access to a higher ceiling, and he's done it more often.
Yeah, that's true. I'll go Bijan. I just think the matchup's softer. Playing a rookie quarterback, you would think. These teams don't like to do the smart thing sometimes, though, which is very frustrating. But it should be a Bijan week in this spot. But I'm over the field on Barkley as well. What about you, Tattoo? Bijan or Saquon?
Saquon. You got me when you were saying BJ, and I was thinking about Penix, and got me all flustered.
That is a hell of a combination of words and acronyms that just are a little too close together. And then what about you, Burns? Bijan or Barkley?
I have more of Bijan in my lineup, so that'll probably be where I go.
Yep, agreed. All right. Wasabi, what's up, JJ? Hope life's treating you all right. We'll be back for some NBA this week. It's been a long time coming. David said, what's up, guys? Is Jameson Williams a good play on both DK and FanDuel GPP? Burns, what are your thoughts on Jameson Williams?
To be really honest with you, I'm not even getting any Detroit passing game here. I'm not going with Goff today. So I'm not going to get any Jameson Williams. I'm not going to get any Amon-Ra.
Yeah,
go
ahead.
I'm just going to say Jared Goff and company do really well at home in their home stadium, indoors, or away from their home stadium, indoors. When you get outdoors is when they start to not look like the same team from an offensive perspective. And that's why I think Jahmyr Gibbs is such a good play today.
Not wrong. Yeah, and I have 2% Jameson Williams. He's showing up a little bit in some of my golf stacks, but he doesn't show up much outside of that. JJ, good to see you. Cohiba said, I'm going to go Connors Cook and pray Gibbs fails in the cold. Yeah, I don't think that's a bad approach just to get different, but you're just literally getting different. That's the thought process there. Nathan said, does it make sense to game stack this week? If so, what game are you targeting? Raz, is there a game that you would like to game stack this week?
Oh, man. It might be the San Francisco-Miami game.
Yeah.
I mean, I know both defenses are solid enough, so having a 44.5 total, it's a lower total game. But when both offenses are clicking, like they have offenses that can score quickly and a lot of touchdowns. I'm game stacking a worse game. I'm stacking the Vegas Jaguars game in multiple ways.
I get that though. I do.
So I mean, overall, I don't think there's a game that screams this is the must stack of the week, like last week. So I'm trying to be a little more creative with my game stacks.
Yeah. And I don't disagree with that. I think there's not a clear, obvious game stack this week. I didn't force that this week in any of my lines. If there was one, it would be the highest total game on the slate, which is the Lions-Bears game, which I can see, to Burns' point, it just be a really gross defensive game, especially away in Chicago, a little chilly. But if this game does go back and forth, I want some exposure to it because there is a scenario where that happens with a little bit of a weaker Lions defense this week. Caleb can take advantage of that like he did earlier this season. Let's see. Favorite Miami receiver not named Hill or Achan?
Washington.
Washington tattoo.
Jonnu Smith.
Jonnu, yeah.
Yeah.
Jonnu's the right answer there. Burns, anyone else you want to add there?
No.
All right. Jose said, Josiah, your honest opinion, who do you like best, Devontae Smith or Adam Thielen? That sounds like a wild question. But it's not. Like, they are priced pretty closely. And surprisingly, the answer is Adam Thielen, which just seems really weird, but he's getting the targets. Matchup's pretty soft. I don't love that Eagles-Washington game. I know someone mentioned I can see a world, as I think Tattoo mentioned it, where he likes the over. And if you do like the over here, I can make an argument for Devontae Smith. He's someone I am over the field on as well. But just 1v1, I'm going to take Adam Thielen here. Burns, Jonathan. What's up, Cedric? Appreciate the support, y'all. What defense can we trust today? All right, let's look at the defenses. Appreciate the question, Xavier. Raz, I'll start with you. Who's standing out?
Man, I mean, I think I'm just going to play the Bills a lot more than people will, since they're most expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm actually, even though I mentioned that as a game that could shoot out, I'm kind of looking at like the Dolphins defense a little bit, kind of in that price range.
Okay.
Jets, even though the Jets have let us down a lot,
Yeah, they are.
they're still at home. I mean, Stafford still can throw pick sixes. If you can get some pressure on him, he can't really move that much. So the Jets at 2,500 probably is where I close my eyes and just pick them.
There. All right, Burns, what about you? Where are you at?
I'm essentially on all the favorites: the Bengals, the Raiders, the Colts, the Bills, the Rams, the 49ers, Eagles, Falcons, Lions, and Cardinals. So all 11 favorites is where you should be at.
Perfect. And then Tattoo, anyone left that you want to highlight?
Giants.
Giants.
Titans.
Yep. Giants, Titans, Niners stand out for you a little bit at all?
Niners. Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
Especially Niners at $2,800.
Yeah. I increased a little bit of exposure to them too. But when it comes to defenses for me, I really just kind of listen to some of the smarter people around me who have done well picking defenses, and you all are a few of them. So I definitely boosted exposure to those teams, and no one else is standing out for me. Robert said, I'll say this. Didn't demolish the boys from up north. I feel like there's an inside joke happening here that I just really am not catching. So sorry, Robert. Happy holidays, John. Hope all is well for you. Is Pollard in? Have we gotten official news on that? I believe he is, right?
Yeah, he's in.
Yep. Jonathan said, Coker or Watson from Green Bay season long. I can't decide. That is tough. Raz, who would you go with?
Oh, man. Let me look at something quick here.
Yeah.
It'll probably be Coker. But I really think that kind of depends. Season long wise, do you need a big ceiling type play, or do you just need, the targets to get some points? Because I think Watson could explode, if you feel like you need that gamble spot. Watson's upside to me is greater than Coker's.
Yeah. I think that's exactly the right way to think about it. Coker, that also still sounds wild to say, but yeah, Coker relatively safer floor, whereas Watson has more upside. JM said it's Baker and Cush playable for FanDuel main slate. Tattoo, I know you play on FanDuel a little bit. You look at Baker or Cush at all?
Yeah, definitely Baker's playable.
Yeah. You're not into your guy, Cooper?
Yeah. I mean, he's in my list. I'm running 150 on FanDuel, and he's in my quarterback pool.
Okay, but you're not going crazy with it. Yeah, I think you're right, though.
Yeah.
Baker's definitely the more viable, very playable option on that slate. Let's get it, JJ. Dan said Drake London or Jordan Addison. Burns, who do you prefer here, if either?
It really depends on the quarterback. If you're going with a Michael Penix build, then yeah, I prefer Drake London. Or with Sam Darnold, I prefer Jordan Addison, though I prefer TJ Hawkinson even more than Addison this week. So yeah, that's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, and for me, I will say I would lean London, just all of those things to the side. But I think you're thinking about the right way, correlation over anything there. Yeah, exactly. Savage. John, FanDuel, Saturday, Sunday slate. Jacobs or Connor? Raz, what's your thought process here?
I mean, Connor's going to be one of my favorite running backs. Like, like he's my 100%er if I did that. Over Gibbs, Connor would be my number one guy. So, gonna have to stick with that.
Yeah, I love James Conner today too, and I haven't looked at Jacobs too much on this slate. Tattoo, do you have any interest in Jacobs?
I hadn't really thought about it too much, but I mean, he does get a bulk of the work. So.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I would lean Connor. Burrow +1 or +2? Burns, I know you mentioned liking Burrow a little bit. What are you doing here?
Yeah, I mean, you could go either way. I do like him with +1 sometimes because then, I like him with Chase Brown as well. So basically, I would do Chase and Chase with Burrow or Chase and Gesicki, Chase and, Higgins, something like that. But yeah, you could definitely do +2 with him. He's a +2 guy.
Yep. CW said home league fantasy football playoff question: Addison, Ridley, or Pollard? Half point per reception. Tattoo, someone who is alive still in the playoffs. Who do you like here?
Addison, Ridley, or Pollard? Surprisingly, I'd probably go with Ridley.
Yeah.
With Addison second and Pollard third, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think the real question is like Addison or Ridley, and then Pollard's definitely viable, but him just being a bit banged up makes you a little nervous about a playoff game, especially when you have Ridley and Addison as options. I would probably.
I mean, Addison's number 2, Ridley is number 1, right?
I mean, yeah. For me, it's completely opposite of that. It's a half point PPR. It's Pollard.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not worried about the injury.
And then Addison number 2, and then Ridley 3.
Okay.
Because Ridley's just not being explosive with his targets. So like a half point PPR is not really going to help. Addison is. Like they're going downfield explosive plays.
Yeah. I would go Addison, Ridley, then Pollard. I'm just worried about how involved he'll actually be, but I think he can be explosive, especially in a pretty soft matchup. Burns,
hasn't Pollard been banged up for 6 weeks in a row, and every single week he's out there? I mean, 21 carries, 24 carries. Like he's touching the ball all the time.
He is, but he didn't practice a good amount this week. He practices at least a little bit most weeks, and so that's why I'm a little bit more nervous than usual.
I say his Q tag is what or I know he's playing, but the banged up.
Yeah, that's what makes me nervous. But you're right, though. I don't think you're wrong. Burns, do you have an opinion on this one?
Usually in a half point PPR, it's similar to how we run FanDuel, right? We want running backs. So, Pollard could be the one. But yeah, Addison's 2. So
yeah. Okay, cool. Njoku seems like the best choice on the Browns. Tattoo or Raz, did you look at Njoku at all?
I mean, I'm relying on him in pretty big money season long, so like I'm not gonna play him DFS wise.
Oh, okay. I was like, are you doubling down? You're gonna go harder on it?
No, it's tough to double down when you have Dorian as the quarterback. I didn't dig into how many of those 13 targets last week came from, somebody other than Jameis or whatever. So I just the passing offense takes a hit for me because of DTR being in the game.
Does anyone like Njoku here? Like, is he standing out for anyone? Burns, tattoo? No.
I mean, I would think not a rookie quarterback, but I mean, for all intents and purposes,
yeah.
He might favor his tight end, but I mean,
yeah.
How much faith do I have in DTR?
Yeah, I'm playing DTR this week, but he's not even showing up in those lines yet. I might need to make some adjustments to get him to show up a little bit more, just because he should at least be present in those
I have
lines.
him in multiple dynasty leagues.
Yeah, agreed. Let's see. Do you guys like Abdullah? Burns, what's your thought process on Abdullah this week? I know the Raiders situation's a little gross.
I really don't even know if I'll even have him. Player pool for running back is pretty tight for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not really getting away. I'm not really going to be on guys like this.
Yeah, same. Raz, I know you like to get different though a little bit at the running back position. You playing Abdullah at all?
I will, only because I obviously mentioned how I'm game stacking this game.
Yeah.
He had 7 targets last week. Caught a touchdown as well. Has a receiving touchdown in 3 out of the last 5 games. So he's somebody that's going to make my pool, at 4,600. I don't really want to use Madison. I'll use him a little bit in my afternoon only, just to be a little different. Since the matchup is a little easier for him, maybe he might do something. But main slate wise, I'd only use Abdullah.
Yeah, that's gonna be a hell no for me. Hate the freaking Raiders running backs. I'm not doing it anymore. All right. Big Rob said, how do you guys feel about cheap running backs like Taylor and Ford versus the pay up guys? Tattoo, what are you doing here with like cheap running backs versus the higher spend up options for running backs? And they set the line at the pay up options in that like 6K range.
On DraftKings, I'll be using like a cheapie. I'll throw Ford in one, or I'll throw Taylor Jr. in one. Gibbs is in every one, like of my hand builds. But I'm not forcing in 2 cheapies.
Yeah. Agreed. I think Taylor Jr. is really the only cheap running back I'm looking at, not too many others outside of that range. Cool. Thomas Jr. or JSN on FanDuel, last receiver in. Thanks. Burns, who do you like here, JSN or BTJ?
On FanDuel, because it's so geared towards touchdowns, I like Thomas Jr., BTJ so much more than JSN. But on the flip of DraftKings, I mean, both of these guys are really good plays and should both be in your player pool. But if I had to pick between one, it's just BTJ for me on FanDuel.
Yep, sounds good. John said, no more Chuba. I have a little bit, but I'm under the field, unfortunately. Raz, are you playing Chuba at all?
I will have some, but I had dropped his projection quite a bit, I think. Yeah, I had to put a enrage on him to lower it quite a bit. But he'll make it, but more like probably half the field weight. I would guess maybe an 8 to 10% play for my pool.
Yep, that's exactly where I'm at too. All right. Thoughts on a Rich? Burns, I believe you mentioned Anthony Richardson. What has you liking him?
With Richardson,
I'll be for a little bit.
With Richardson, it's mainly a play. I mean, it's not a great play by any stretch. I mean, he's been kind of subpar this year from a efficiency standpoint. Quarterbacks, we want to target efficiency. But he is a favorite. He is at home. He does use his legs quite a bit. So I do really like him from that standpoint. My favorite stacking partner with him is Josh Downs today. I really like that, and it's only going to cost you, I think it's 10,300, if that. And yeah, so I'm not really liking Pittman with him. I just like Josh Downs in this one as a stacking partner, but I'm stacking him up with JTJ too. So that's kind of how I'm rolling A-Rich today. So
yep. I really like Downs. I'm not playing Anthony Richardson, but I'm still playing Josh Downs this week. I just like the matchup for him. So we'll see. Hopefully he comes through. Bobby said, any love for Spears now that Pollard is playing? Raz, are you taking any shots on Spears this week?
No. I just don't see the need to. Given that we can pay down for Patrick Taylor Jr., Jerome Ford, obviously cheaper. I would just trust those guys. I'm willing to play like the Jacksonville running backs, over Tajay Spears. So I just don't think we need to. But I don't know. That's because I'm higher on Pollard. So
sure. I'm taking a shot. I'll have like 1 to 2%. That's barely anything. Mostly because I do like the running back position, and I like paying up at the running back position this week. So I'm not trying to get too cute. The matchup, though, against the Colts is so soft that I do want some exposure just in case he goes off. Same thought process here for Pollard as well. He's someone that I force some exposure to. I'm actually going to be like around double the field on him. Even though I am worried about his actual health, I love the matchup enough, and he's not chalky because he's burned people so much that I'm willing to take a shot here. So I agree with you, Raz. Reynolds said, I have Penix in my Millie lineup, and if he does what we think he can do, it could be a great day. Tattoo, I know you want to talk about Penix. Why are you playing him?
I want to talk about Raz's Penix.
Okay.
But,
why are y'all like this? I don't know what I did to get here. But here I am.
He's cheap.
Okay.
They obviously see something in him to go ahead and throw him in while they're still in a playoff chase. Still a rookie, still going to make mistakes, but I mean, I'm playing him. I built a lineup with him. So
yeah. Dirt cheap. The matchup is tough. The Giants' passing defense has been pretty good this season, but I'm playing him as well. I don't know. Burns, can you talk us off of this? Is there a reason why we shouldn't be playing Penix?
First game, really, starting as a rookie quarterback. I mean, all the other rookies really did, outside of maybe Jaden Daniels, didn't really fare all that great their first week as a starting quarterback. He's a lefty. This is a thing. So I don't know. That's kind of why I like Bijan in this game. I think Bijan, it could be a very viable piece. Check downs, just running it straight at the Giants front defensive lineman. So I don't know. Plus the spread on this game is the 9.5 right now, and it's a low point total. So it's not like this game is like sparkling awesome by any stretch. I mean, the Giants, the only thing on the Giants side is Neighbors and Tyrone Tracy. So, it's just a game basically. And, and he's at 12% ownership. There you go. There's your thing. He's 12% owned.
Oh, honestly, that was what I needed to hear, because I'm playing Aiden O'Connell, I'm playing Mason Rudolph, I'm playing DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and they're all significantly lower owned than Michael Penix Jr. not that much more expensive, and in softer matchups. So I still have Penix on my leverage sheet. I'm going to take him off, though. I'm not playing Penix anymore. That was it. What are you going to say, though, Tattoo? I feel like you have a counter argument here.
I don't know if it's a counter argument. I was going to say the only argument, I guess, really is salary savings. If you really, really what is, I had to jam in studs, and but I mean, I only have 3% in 150 lineups. So I mean, I'm not.
Yeah. So you'll still be under the field. He's looking super chalky. Like he'll be like 12, 13% owned. Let's see. I don't know. I'm trying to think of another quarterback I want to add into the mix because I still like having 8 quarterbacks typically, and right now I'm at 7.
Hey, Josiah, one thing before we go further. The props projection issue on Domination Station has been resolved.
Yep. They're back and updated, as you can see here, which is sweet. All right. And the prop projections are great. It's also just a nice way of seeing guys that, are looking a little bit better than some of the other guys in their salary range. And so we talk about that a lot. I won't harp on it too much, but good to see it back. Let's see. Justin said, need help, guys. Season-long playoffs. Kenny Walker or Brian Robinson? Or Bajan? Or no, it's probably Brian Robinson Jr. Let's see. Burns, who do you like here?
KW3, I mean, he's coming off of an injury he had for multiple weeks. Brian Robinson is going up against a significant defensive front against running backs. Maybe KW3, but I don't like either one of these guys, to be quite honest with you. I think Minnesota's defensive unit shuts down the run.
Yep.
And that's how you beat Minnesota through the air, not the run. So both of these guys are really tough. If I had to really just lean on one, it might be Brain Robinson. So
yeah, I would probably lean K9, just thinking DK and DK fashion get stopped at the 1 a couple of times, and K9 just runs it in for a touchdown. But like you said, Burns, this is just a brutal matchup for both sides. Good luck, Justin. You're probably going to.
Hey, he made it this far. He's playing this week. He's doing something right.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Jose said, Josiah, are you running any butt naked quarterbacks? Why'd you say it like that, man?
I think you said it like that. He just wrote it. You added the flair.
Yeah, that's true. I am not. I never really do. I understand why people do. It's not a part of my process. So I stick with what I do. John said, I'm having a issue with Myers. I can't click. Jacoby Myers, I do feel like he burns me. Every time I have a shit ton, he burns me. Probably because of quarterback play. I don't want to put it on him, but I clicked on him. What are you doing here, Burns? Are you playing Myers at all?
Yeah, I'm just letting him naturally just flow into lineups. I'm not really gonna lower him at all. I think his projection for the props is actually a pretty good prop projection for him. It's almost 15 points. When you look at the salaries around him, he's 5,800. So we got guys like Devonta Smith. He's at 12 DraftKings points. Jennings is at 13.7. So we're looking at a guy that's a full point above Juwan Jennings, 2.8 points above Devonta, and then even DJ Moore is at 13.4. So from a props projection standpoint, if we're just looking at that, he makes a lot of sense just to let him free flow through your lineups and not like do anything with his projection per se.
Yeah. Okay, nice. And then let's see. Mr. Andy was glad that somebody said his name. I don't know who or what name, but he was psyched. People love the Mac Jones call, Raz, even though I hated on it. I
don't understand how you hate it, because then you instantly brought up playing Mason Rudolph and DTR. Like, I just don't get it.
We can call it a bias. I think that's really what it is.
People are who love the call.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do it. It's just not gonna happen. It is what it is. Ash, what's up, man? Yeah, he was. Okay, you're playing.
I'm in my lazy boy. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Ash.
I see you. The Ken Knief said, really surprised nobody likes Jaden. I'm going for it. I played him last week. I'm not doing it this week. I didn't love it. Are you playing him, Tattoo?
No, FanDuel just pissed me off.
Oh, yeah. Sounds like FanDuel. But do you like Jaden at all?
Yeah. Low owned. Like I said, I think that game's gonna be high scoring. So, despite how everybody loves Philly's defense, I just think it's gonna be one of them divisional bangers that just go back and forth.
Nice. And then Jay said, Burns, what's your ownership cap? Projected ownership cap, it's a setting here in the DS. Burns, where are you at?
140 is where I tend to land every week, so 140.
Yeah. Raz, are you somewhere different?
I'm at 150 right now.
150. All right. Chalky day for you. I feel like you're not normally at 150. And then Wood said, thoughts on Scary Terry against the Eagles secondary. Raz, you looking at Terry McLaurin here?
Yeah, I'm trying to force more in. He's just not projecting very well. But he's been playing so well that I need to make sure I have probably 8 to 12% is my goal.
Yeah, I liked him last week. Definitely not playing him this week. I don't like the matchup against the Eagles here. But you're right. He's been hot, so I get it. No, Quinnen, Williams, Kyron, a good play. Tattoo, any thoughts on Kyron?
Yeah. I mean, why not? I'm not going to be over the field or anything. I mean, he doesn't stand out to me, but he's fine.
No, Kyron is not fun. We don't play Kyron anymore. He's dead to us. Never again. Never again are we doing that. King said, would y'all two high dollar running backs like Gibbs and Connor together? Or would you play two high dollar running backs like Gibbs and Connor together? Raz, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm fine with it because I'm playing quite a bit of Chase Brown as well, and Bijan and Gibbs. I'm spending up a lot at running back this week. So,
yep. Agreed. What's up, OG? Said single entry, DK 12. Don't know what that means. Who are two must play? We will start with you, Burns. OG, I get lost sometimes. I don't know. Must play two what? Just must two guys? Okay. Yeah, top two guys. Burns, who are your top two plays on the slate?
Well, I think one of them has to be Jahmyr Gibbs this week. If you're just doing single entries, it depends on the $12 DK is so wide ranging. Like you have 7,000 entrants, and you have 2,000, and then you have a couple hundred. But even at the 7,000 range for the SE on $12 SE, I would start my lineup with Jahmyr Gibbs. From there, you can get pretty interesting and different. And then I would probably go. I like Tyreek Hill today, so potentially him. But I think the second anchor to that lineup, you could either go BTJ or Malik Neighbors.
Yeah. For me, it's Gibbs and Jacoby Myers. Tattoo, who are your top two plays?
Gibbs and Brian Thomas Jr.
Nice. And then Raz, what about you?
Well, so that I can be different, it's going to be James Conner, and I can't give a different wide receiver like BTJ or Myers or Neighbors. My hand builds are all starting with one of those, probably two of those three wide receivers in them, to be honest.
I think I got all three of them in multiples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll be different and go Connor over Gibbs. I mean, I'm still gonna have plenty of Gibbs, but Connor has made his way to number one on my running back list.
I mean, is it making you guys Is it making you guys like worried that everybody is on Gibbs? I mean, he's pushing what is it right now?
40 some
40%?
percent.
40%. Yep.
I mean, that's a lot on Gibbs. I get it. Montgomery's out, and I have him as my 100% guy. So don't feel like you have to change in any which way because I'm not. But the fail rate could actually be about 50%. So
Yeah, at this point.
if not higher, and I'm not really sure. Like, I don't know. He only got like high teens or low teens in this game against them on the fast surface. So over Thanksgiving, it's a weird dynamic. That's kind of why I'm pushing Cook into a lot of lineups. I'm pushing JTJ. I'm pushing guys that are lower owned, and I don't like Gibbs and Connor together at all. I think it's way too much ownership. I think Connor and Gibbs together, your rest of your lineup is really shaky. Like, it's an opportunity cost that is it costs you 14,000 is a lot for two running backs. So I'm not really going to be where a lot of people are with Connor. I talked to Tattoo about this earlier this week. Connor on the road is not a good running back. If you look at his game logs, he is actually almost a 5-point less fantasy production running back on the road than he is at home. And I was looking at all the game logs of the 7K guys and above, and I wanted to get guys that were sufficient in their fantasy point production. And guys like Achane at home, he's a home underdog. So I'm kind of like going against the grain on this one as I normally do.
Mm-hmm.
But Achane at home has produced significant fantasy production, and he's so much lower owned than Gibbs. He's so much lower owned than Connor, and nobody's even talking about Achane this week. And Achane is a guy that could explode significantly. Another guy like James Cook. This is the reason why I like James Cook. He's great at home. He produces quality fantasy production at home. Same with Taylor Jr. Bijan Robinson has been awesome at home this year. So these are guys that I'm like pumping up in my lineups, and I have Gibbs at 100%. And I'm almost feeling like, since everybody else is on him, like, I don't know if I want him at 100% anymore.
Yeah, I'm at 60. I couldn't do the 100% on Gibbs. I just needed to have some lines that got different. And that's just kind of like the balancing act that I'm playing is I'm eating the chalk on Gibbs a little bit over the field, so expecting him to go off. But then I have 40% of my lines that are getting very different just by him not being there. So I don't know. I think it's a good question and it's a good conversation to have. But what are your thoughts here, Raz?
I mean, listening to that, like, I'm tempted to drop Gibbs to a 20% play. Because I look at him a lot like Achane. Achane has done it a lot in receiving, but since he's been like the lead back, his explosiveness from a running standpoint isn't the same. So do we expect that kind of a drop off for somebody like Gibbs, who benefits from having Montgomery do a ton of the pounding throughout the game? And in my head, I think I do. Like, I think there's some question marks, so where we need Gibbs to score multiple touchdowns, I think, at this point. And I'm not sure that he's going to do it on the road. I understand the Connor on the road thing. Like, I'm just higher on Connor just because he's, I guess my last update, he's half the ownership of Gibbs is. So, like, that was one of the reasons why he jumped up for me. It's the reason why I'm high on Jonathan Taylor as well.
Yeah, fair. All right. Tatsu, anything else you want to add here before we go to our ATDs?
No, I'm good.
Cool. All right, y'all. So we're at the end of the show. We'll talk about our anytime touchdown props, and then we're going to talk about our favorite low-owned positions. We're going a little long, so let's try and make it short and sweet. Raz, I'll start with you, ATD.
I'll go with Jonathan Taylor. It should be James Conner, but Jonathan Taylor's my choice.
JT, I'll go Connor then, just so we're covered on both sides there. And then Tattoo, who do you like?
Rashad White.
Rashad White. All right, there we go. Pulling out one from the late game. And then what about you, Burns?
I'll just roll with Chase Brown.
Yeah. All right, that's probably our best one so far. All right, and then favorite low-owned play on the slate. Tattoo. Sometimes I go to you first, and you're not ready, so I'm gonna go to
Josh
Raz.
Allen.
I'm gonna go to Raz. Who's your favorite low-owned guy?
I mean, I think we already established it's Mac Jones.
Okay. Besides Mac Jones, who else do you like?
I'm gonna go with Malik Washington.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
I've now jumped to 6.5 times the field weight on him.
Okay. Okay, Burns, what about you? Favorite low-owned play?
Man, I'm pumping. I just did another one since this projection system got fixed. I'm actually boosting Tony Pollard into more, trying to get him into more of my lineups. He's at 3.5% ownership.
Yeah,
which is wow, that's pretty awesome.
Where are you? I'm at 6.
I got to rerun it, but
Okay.
I just did it. But I want to go back to one thing before we stop, and I will take only 30 seconds here.
Go ahead.
I'm coming off of 100% Gibbs, but and I'm not going 100% on anyone, but I'm going down to 50%. So I will be in the Millie Maker. That's going to be field weight. Gibbs will be 50% owned. So it's not a great thing, and I may go down to 40% because I love Gibbs, and I've been on Gibbs multiple times this year, but I just don't like the ownership. And the ownership is, and yeah, you can eat chalk and ownership on running backs, but I don't know if he's going to get there today. That's my only hesitation. So,
yeah. Tattoo, what about you? Low-owned play?
Quarterback Josh Allen, running back Ramondre Stevenson, wide receiver Matt Collins, and Tyler Conklin, tight end.
All right. I like those. For me, it's going to be it looks like Keenan Allen's ownership went up a little bit. I was looking there. Now I'll move it to a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr. Again, I think he's probably a better touchdown prop play than DFS play, but I think he gets at least a touchdown today. And then for DFS, I would say it's probably going to be like Demario Douglas. I think he's a little sneaky and no one's looking at him, or Darnell Mooney. The other guys, you guys have already talked about, so I won't touch on it. But anyway, appreciate all the support, everyone watching. We're getting close to the end of the season, and, we're still going strong. So hopefully we can have a good slate. Look forward to talking to everyone in the Discord, and hopefully more celebrating than tilting. Hope you all have a great holiday. If your holidays have already been going on, keep the good vibes going. If they're happening this week, happy Merry Christmas. Hope you all do well. And we'll see you all next Sunday to hopefully win some more. So peace out, y'all. Bye.